Are turning brown.
I experienced something quite weird this week. So first and foremost, the shift from summer to autumn, I felt very clearly, nothing weird about that, but it did something to my mood in a very subtle way, not in a good way, I have to say, and that's unusual for me because normally that shift has like a very refreshing, grounding effect on me, and this year it just feels heavier, and I also notice it with the people around me who feel the same. The energy is just different. And on Wednesday I was at a birthday party of a good friend of mine, and it was located in an industrial building. Like it was like it's a whole complex of old industrial buildings in Cologne, like with a lot of history. Like in this room and this building, I walked into it and immediately I could just feel how it just carries its own vibration. And sometimes it's just for inexplicable reasons that it really does something to my core. And sometimes it's even quite scary, where it gets really hard for me to stay in my center, like as if the room kind of takes a part of my soul. It's hard to explain, and it was actually a nice atmosphere. Well, the atmosphere was strange. Now the people were nice and kind, and everything was actually nice, but still I felt so isolated and disconnected, and I didn't feel like that before I came into that room, I just have to say. So and probably if it would have been a warm summer day, you know, there would have been light and warmth, I would have felt differently, definitely. And but I'm just very, very sensitive to that stuff, I've noticed. And also I've noticed that, like, in my living room, I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I think, like 9 sources of light only, like in my living room. And I'm just very sensitive to all kinds of subtle energy sources, like whether it's lighting, whether it's like smells, background noise and sounds, and sometimes we have no influence over that. But I feel especially in this kind of season where everything gets kind of, you know, dark and gray and cold outside. Well, now we will have like this beautiful Indian summer first, but after that, you know, it's just so important to really weave that light and that warmth into our everyday life. It's just, you notice it, like your body softens, your energy kind of, your conversation starts to flow, your creativity starts to flow again. Everything we do, every impulse, every choice, every signal we send into this world creates an atmosphere or a field of energy. I just imagine it as ripples on a lake, and those ripples interfere and they form patterns, right? And, you know, until the whole surface shimmers, and that's how I imagine it. And I recently heard a quote by Nikola Tesla, who said, like, if you want to understand the secret of the universe, think in frequencies and vibrations and energy, or something like that. And I feel that's very true, because I feel like every single thought, every emotion, every word, every habit carries a frequency. And they just shape the world we live in and how we interact or interfere like with the world, and like just like those tiny ripples on the water. And so the impulses we set in our room around us, it just can change like our whole little world, so to speak, and our whole being. So don't underestimate your lights, your sounds, your sense. I feel they're like notes in a composition or like in a harmony. They can create music in your room and in your life. And also you and your whole being will fall into that harmony. Your thoughts and your feelings and your actions will go with that vibration. And in that moment, you will feel the difference, because when you get into a vibration, you will rather get the sense of flow and of alignment and of coherence, rather than of resistance and interference, or, just having to push against something. You start to create from being and not from, this need to prove something, like the difference between rowing and sailing, I would say. And that's just why all those tiny micro habits and actions matter. It's not just about hanging like one single neon light bulb or reading one self-help book and everything will be better. It's like, the texture of your daily life. The layers of care, all little choices you make, and that will shift your energy. At least it does. It's the case with me. And I think of it like food. If you just take a handful of vitamins, right? It's not the same as a slow-cooked meal that's cooked with creativity and care. It's just not the same. It won't nourish you in the same way, right? So I really need to remind myself of that right now, and again, to show myself some love, to show myself some care, and to create some beautiful music and harmony around me, because right now there are moments when I'm feeling very, very low. I have to tell you honestly, like my energy sometimes is on a very low level due to several things in my life and difficult things, painful things I've experienced in the past. And sometimes, and right at this moment, really, I just feel like crying. And, and it's important to feel those emotions, to let them be there, not to push them away. Because if we're not in alignment, with our authenticity, authentic core, what's the point? We always create, we always manifest from being and not from wanting. Always from being. So getting into alignment with your being is the most important things. And if you feel like me, like crying, just cry and feel it and be there with your emotion. But at the same time, having those little moments of care and of trying to show yourself some love is so, so important. So I need to go to work now. After that, I have no idea where this day will carry me. I will let life surprise me in its own little ways. And I'm just glad if you keep me company. I feel sometimes the most radical thing we can do is to create something that no one else sees, and to enjoy something just on our own. Like each time we choose that, we break the cycle of having to earn our existence. And it's okay that it feels hard. You're not failing, you're shifting an old pattern to a new one, and that takes time and practice. Like even on days when you don't feel chosen, the simple decision to choose yourself again and again is already an act of love and strength.
Ja, die Herdplatte ist aber anders.
Ja. Ja.
Ja.
Undivided moves in circles, trapped like a wave in a tidal pool. Waves upon waves, the horizon in view, but out of reach. I've been saying that something needs to change. I've been saying that someday I'll change. Undefeated flows like water pulled by the moon. The froth and the brine rise up and touch my skin. I've been saying that something needs to change. I've been wallowing in my own skin.
Honestly, I'm so tired of constantly feeling like I need to prove myself. I just want to be. I just want to let myself be. Let myself be happy. Let myself be loved. It just feels so hard sometimes. When the sun doesn't shine on us, it doesn't mean that it's gone. Right now it's behind the clouds. And it's a little bit further away, but you know what I mean? Until it returns, we can create our own little sources of light and warmth. And, you know, be that source of energy for yourself and for the people around you. That's the work. So it's a Saturday morning. My son is with his dad, and I'm actually invited to 2 art exhibitions, one by a dear friend of mine and one by a group of colleagues or ex-student colleagues from my art school. And I think I will go to both of them. Your space, your rituals, your inner state, it's a composition. The weaving of light, sense, sound, and tension, that's what feeds the spirit, not the isolated ingredients. When you tend to the details, you're tuning your whole being into a frequency that supports who you really are.